Suck my balls, Cal. No! No, he has to suck my balls!
You like to suck my balls, don't deny it.
Oh, suck my balls, you ginger Jew rat hall monitor! Punk-ass stoolie, who the f*** do you think you are? Suck my balls, K-10. That's right, suck my Canadian balls! Suck my balls! No, you suck my balls! Thanks, everybody. Suck my balls! Yeah, whatever, you can suck our balls. Suck my balls, 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 suck my balls.
How would you children like to suck on my chocolate salty balls?
Oh, you mean like a chocolate candy?
No, I mean my balls.
Yes. Yes!
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. That's right, welcome back to another edition of Suck My Balls. Suck My Balls. Suck My Balls. Suck My Balls. What is going down? Suck My Balls, a South Park review. Each and every week, me and my boys here like to take you on a South Park journey. We like to review past and now current episodes right here exclusively on YouTube. So if you're watching this on YouTube, go ahead and do us a favor. Hit that like and subscribe button, and you'll be notified when the next video drops. Yeah, I know I have to be annoying now and say that crap. But I am not alone. Ladies and gentlemen, each and every week I am joined by my boy, Dirty Joe Vernola. What's up, Joe? Good morning.
Oh, not a whole hell of a lot. I'm trying to be a little more like conscious of the fact that I'm on camera now, because I went back and watched the YouTube videos, and like I do everything short of like stick a finger up my ass or pick my nose.
I mean, I wasn't going to say anything, but I figured, Joe's a man who's been on camera, and if that's how he wants to present himself, like, who am I to say anything?
That said, I'm not going to stop smoking on camera.
Yeah, that's fine. We're sponsored by the BakeBoysClub.com. Use our code SuckMyBallsPod, and you'll save 20% off your order. Bake Boy is not just a brand, it's a lifestyle. And I don't know if you caught that, Joe, but I didn't even do my spiel. Of course, guys, I'm your host in the heat, and I can't be beat. I'm your guy who's high where the air is dry. Yeah, boy. MSG. Follow me on Twitter, Instagram, Matthew_Schaffer. SHAFFER. No C's. No extra E's. And by God, I already took a pee. Ladies and gentlemen, of course, normally we're joined on our podcast as well by our boy. It's Saturday, though, so Scoop, I don't know where Scoop's at. Shout out to you, Scoop. And you're probably wondering, wow, you guys, last couple weeks been coming out the episodes right away. Well, we had to wait a couple days because not just, schedules and we're adults, but I think we had to kind of digest a little bit what this episode entailed, what happened, and the ramifications that ensued from that. So let's get into that here. This is Suck My Balls Season 25, Episode 3 review. All right, so City People, Joe, City People. We were totally wrong because last week we thought it was going to be solely related around Mr. Kim. Now, he was, of course, in the episode, and City People is, of course, a fun pun name, so he was a part of it. We were partly right, but it wasn't the whole. We wanted Leanne to work at City Walk.
Yeah.
And in retrospect, as we get into this episode now, maybe it would have worked better if she had worked at City Walk.
Right? Then bring Cartman home some Charles chicken and he doesn't get all butt hurt.
And she could probably just work during the day. City People. It's the third episode, guys, of season 25. And it is this is a huge number. 312th overall episode of South Park. And I say that's a huge number because for us, we're at 110, coming up on number 111 on South Park, we're only a third through of reviewing it on the podcast side. And if you'd like to go back, you can. Just search Suck My Balls Pod, a South Park review. And there's 113 episodes up there right now, including the movie reviews. But this episode starts, it's a Cartman episode. And as you kind of alluded there, Cartman is furious with his mom when she tells him about her new job, Joe. So the rent apparently on the Cartman residence, which I guess we've now found out that they don't own their home. So that's new. That's a new detail of the Cartman family. And there's a real estate boom going on in the town of South Park, just like everywhere else, I'd say, in larger cities going on right now. Mm-hmm. And so she's hoping to make some extra cash, like any parent wants to take care of their family. And so she goes out and finds a job. And she becomes a realtor. Now, when she comes home to share the great news with her son, he insists that her job is him, taking care of him. And
I'm your job.
right, and complains furiously that she was not home when she arrived from school. Yeah, man, 45 minutes, man. I didn't have any food. He's like sitting there eating Nutella. So that's what it was,
He
guys.
got it like all over the iPad too. That was like my favorite part. It's like 8-year-olds are fucking filthy like that.
Right. He got it all over the iPad and all over his face, and it looked like poop. Everyone probably thought it was poop all week. Just Nutella. A great play. After she explains it to him about the real estate market, by the way, Cartman then gets the idea that he's going to go to this Dodge residence, which he does. He goes to see Butters, and he explains to Butters his mom got a new job. Butters says, "Oh, so now you're worried that your mom's not going to be able to hang out with you some more?" And Cartman's like, "No, my mom's a dumbass. Who would give my mom a job?" So Cartman he basically then explains to Butters that realty is like legal theft, and that Butters is going to help him take some pictures because he actually compliments him very well. In this whole episode, Butters was treated very well from Cartman, I must say.
Yeah, he was.
Very well, very respectfully. From the onset of telling Butters, look, you've always been a great photographer. And then throughout the whole episode, when he's having to be a cameraman, he doesn't belittle Butters one way at all, So shout out to that evolution there of that friendship a little bit. Or at least Cartman knew that he could trust Butters in that sense, so he didn't have to be on his ass about something. So
yeah,
there is that as well. So after declaring that it's legal theft and asking Butters not to tell anybody about the job, Leanne then shifts over to start opening up her first house. Now, if you haven't caught on, guys, unfortunately, this is not a full boys episode. We don't see Stan, we don't see Kyle, we don't see Kenny in this episode. It's just mainly Cartman, Butters. Now, we're going to see Kyle's house, and we will see some other South Park characters, but we're not going to see the main four, and it's not a main four episode. This is a Cartman episode. In fact, I dare say, Joe, this is I don't know, kind of like a glimpse into the future or a continuous notch in the long timeline of how Cartman ends up homeless.
Yeah, it really could be.
Yeah, and we realize that we have not put out part 2. We have recorded the audio for part 2 of the post-COVID return review, so that will be coming shortly. But based on this episode, I'm glad we waited to record after because there's continual evidence to support the fact that Cartman, he's going to end up homeless for probably because of the start of this episode itself.
Yeah, this really could be kicking it off.
So Cartman then soon interrupts his mom, who's holding her first house, and it's interesting how they parody the individuals who want Wi-Fi, cortato, palate,
Wi-Fi, MacBook, Tesla,
metal bottle water.
metal bottle water,
I like
potatoes.
When the first two people show up, it made me laugh. It was ridiculous. When they're bottle water, and then the other guy, the new family comes up here, and he's got a metal one, and then the guy goes metal bottle water, metal. Like they get super excited to see a metal bottle of water. It's ridiculous. So now we cut over to Mayor McDaniels. Now she's in the Chamber of Commerce having a meeting with some of the businesses, and they're basically excited about all the influx of real estate and the real estate market itself. And I should also mention the way this episode also opens up, it pans through the real estate office, which sets up Leanne getting that job. So the real estate market is booming, and of course the small business in town, Mr. Kim, Henrietta's mother, the baker, she's excited. Then you've got, Mr. Kim, he's excited. Just, all the other residents of town. I think Mr. Mackey's in there at some point too. The big Chamber of Commerce meetings. And they discuss about the urban areas growing, more profits to businesses, and of course being able to charge the citizens more taxes. Mr. Kim explains the benefits of the city people bringing their clothes, ideas, and lifestyles to town. But the way he does it is hysterical. Oh, the shitty people will bring in their clothes. The shitty people will mingle with their lifestyles. Our children will become shitty. The shitty lifestyle. They'll bring their shitty lifestyles to town.
Yeah. Everything was shitty.
Everything was shitty. Everything will be shitty. So they're all optimistic about the town's future. And then Cartman now is going back and forth with his mom, combating different residences or different, for sale. And his mother explained to him, you have to have a license. You can't just show up and just start selling these houses, Cartman. So Cartman gets the genius idea that, you know what, the market is just so ridiculously high that legally speaking, you actually can, as an individual, sell your home, or you can be a representative of another individual without a realtor's license. From my basic minimal research, I believe the realtor's license gives you the ability to work for another company to sell like a corporation, as well as it provides like liability insurance and coverage and all that for yourself too.
Exactly, because a lot of house flippers and stuff do it themselves.
Right. A lot of house flippers, from what I've also found out, have a contractor friend though too. Their name actually might be on the business. That's how they might be getting around it. I don't know. I watched a video about. Anyway, we're going down a weird rabbit hole there. So, in regards to this real estate, though, Cartman then probably did his research and found out, well, I can just start selling any house that'll really let me do it. I don't have to do it for my mom's company. And he starts to go through his friends, quote unquote, friends' homes, such as the Tweaks. It's hysterical. He brings all these people through the Tweaks house. They're like, excuse me, we're eating dinner here. And then as he shows them the whole tour and as he's leaving, he says, I think I can get about $4 million for your house. So Cartman, basically sees an opportunity because the real estate homes in town are only selling for 150 to 200,000. They're not very expensive. They're, adequate homes in a small town, still expensive, still modern expensive maybe for me and you, but for somebody who's, making good money, saved their money, got a loan, and mortgage, that's actually a decent price.
Yeah, I was going to say, if someone saw a house for 160 to 260 or whatever they were going for in the show, there'd be a bunch of people jumping all over that shit.
Right. So that's kind of the backstory of what's going to happen in this whole episode. Cartman versus his mom in a real estate war. Cartman utilizing his friends' homes as collateral or pieces of fish being served up on a platter, right? To all of these hungry, fucking weird millennial Wi-Fi bottled water, metal drinking LaCroix, Cortado. LaCroix society that it's city people infesting into South Park. So that's the overall general. We don't need to break down every single scene from there, but just to continue on there in the episode itself, Cartman then starts promoting commercials, as we mentioned, like from Clyde's house to Craig's house to Wendy's house to Kyle's house as opportunities to sell these homes. And we have to assume based on his interaction with Tweaks that he's also convinced these other families, look, I can get a shitload of money for you. On the flip side, now you've got the real estate company now trying to keep up with Cartman because Cartman does like a funny like real estate photo, and then he just of course makes an awesome real estate video package. And these real estate companies, the South Park Realty, which Cartman names his the South Park Realty Group, which is hysterical. Just that way when you look it up, it comes up with either or, right, in an algorithm form. So they start combating Cartman with taking new pictures, and the joke there is everyone has to continue to break their back, taking this pose. They take new videos, so they're going back and forth, and they kind of do a little bit of a foreshadowing early on the early part of the episode. We're showing that there's a historic Aspen hot dog park property that's for sale, and then a town person expresses interest in moving away to escape the city, and he was the owner of that. As this all continues to happen, we then, Mr. Kim and the Chamber of Commerce realize, Joe, that there's way too many freaking people now coming into our town. And by having way too many people come into a town, what's the one thing city people are trying to get away from?
Other shitty people.
Exactly. Other shitty people. So he's afraid if too many city people come into town, then all the current city people that have migrated will then exit, thus putting South Park in a worse position now that they've got a more thriving, robust economy.
Right.
So in a weird bit of, I guess, flip the script from a mayor standpoint, from a Mayor McDaniels standpoint, Mayor McDaniels, who looks over to Jimbo, who's there, who owns the gun store, and expresses to him that go back to his gun store, get some supplies, as she's sanctioning open season on realtors. Like, she's basically telling Jimbo and the people it's okay to go out and kill people.
Yeah, exactly. She literally, not quite martial law, but may as well have just enacted martial law.
Pretty much. Well, this all culminates in one big final scene in Tolkien's house, who's now, of course, as we mentioned in the previous episode, living on the farm, as his house is for sale. So Cartman's trying to sell that. A bunch of people show up as Cartman's got all the goodies from edamames, LaCroix, water bottles, oat milk, acai, refreshments to invite this huge open house. He's enlisting the token black residents at $50 million and allowing people to explore. Now, just as he's doing that, then Leanne shows up because her and Cartman have been going back and forth throughout the whole episode, and she's yelling at him because she, as a parent, is starting to realize and understand what Cartman is doing. He's trying to manipulate her. He doesn't really care about selling his homes. He just doesn't want his mom to go away. So this culminates with all of them in the open house, and Leanne starts chasing Cartman to the open house, and then the realty group shows up after going through a rampage. Actually, let me back up here. The Jimbo and the crew actually show up to South Park Realty Group or South Park Realty. Jimbo and the town actually show up to South Park Realty, and all of the people are like half dead because they all tried to take pictures and broke their back. They kept trying to update their pictures and they broke their own back. So like they didn't have to be killed then by Jimbo and his crew, but they still went to the token black residence and opened fire on the residences there. So, I mean, technically, not only were they opening fire on maybe what they thought were multiple real estate agents, but just people in general, right?
Right.
That's a little odd. However, Cartman and Leanne have their final scene in this fight scene in the kitchen, and Leanne concedes to Cartman that she will give up her job to come home and take care of Cartman if they'll stop all this fighting and nonsense. So they walk outside, raise the white flag. All of the business owners and what townspeople we see there are excited because it's now over. And that's it. Or at least that's what we think. Because Cartman, he's happy thinking his demands have been met and that she had surrendered. Well, we cut now right over the next scene. And as Leanne told Cartman at the beginning of the episode, they need money. Well, now out of money, the Cartman family is forced to move into a Aspen hot dog that they showed us in the beginning of the episode. And at first, Cartman does express some sentimental and some optimism, and it's a little sweet, like all we have is each other, and that's all we need. And then it ends with Cartman trying to turn the water on, and condiments such as ketchup and mustard spew out and hit him in his face, and he says, "I gave him a hot dog. Weak." And that's kind of how that episode ends. Name of what's your first favorite part here, bud?
My first favorite part, the part that's probably going to stick out to me the most moving on, is basically any interaction of the shitty people, city people, and especially the first one when Leanne is ready to present the house.
So let's take a look at that here.
Pilates.
Excuse me?
Pilates.
Is there a gym my wife can do Pilates?
I like how
Oh,
you're
you're about
only
5
normal
minutes
one.
from the local gym.
Pilates, bottled water?
He's only barely normal.
You have
And
such a
even
lovely
then, he's
family.
very pushy.
It must have been a big drive from the city.
Tesla. We have a Tesla.
Wi-Fi? Wi-Fi? Is there Wi-Fi?
No Wi-Fi, bottled water.
No Wi-Fi, bottled
Let me
water.
show you around.
Metal bottled water.
Metal bottle water.
That guy was so excited of metal bottled water. Like,
Yeah.
it was a big deal for him, Joe. He's never seen metal bottled water. Like it was his first time in his life. You know what I mean?
That just, and I like how that moved the cyclist up the chain. Metal bottle water.
Interesting to know. You point out the interactions in the whole episode. It does feel like that the kids and even the wife, to an extent, are very mild mannered and only speak in small terms. And then like the husband would come out and speak kind of full sentences. Do you have Wi-Fi? Do you have Pilates for my wife?
Yeah.
He'd be the only one that could connect the sentences there.
But even then they were very super primitive. It was almost like the boys when they discovered Bebe's boobs.
You're right. That is a nice callback there. But you can go back and check out our review, when it comes out. I don't think we've done it yet. So you can. Or no, we have done it. Yeah, we've done the auto.
Yeah, we did Bebe's boobs.
So go back and check Bebe's boobs destroy the world on our feed. So my next favorite scene here, Joe, is as I mentioned here, Mr. Kim talking about the influx of new people coming into town. And when he refers to that, as we mentioned before, he talks to them as their city people.
These shitty people come with their fancy shitty clothes and their big shitty cars. You know, and these shitty people have a shitty way of doing things that will expose us all to their shitty ideas.
Yeah, and they got city money and city lifestyles.
Shitty money, shitty lifestyles. And they'll move here and bring their shitty families, and their cultured shitty kids will hang out with our kids and expose them to their shitty ways.
So as you saw there in the clip, Joe, shitty people are coming. And what else did you like about in this episode?
The video ad or kind of real estate show that Cartman made, showing off all the properties available in town that their owners probably don't even know are available. It also seemed very Soto Sopa to me.
You don't think the property owners were aware?
Definitely not Kyle's house. No way the Broflovskis knew that Cartman had listed their house.
Okay, that's probably true. That's probably true. It was hysterical. All right, well, let's take a look at what you're referring to.
Hey guys, it's Eric from South Park Realty Group. Are you dreaming of moving out of the city and into the beautiful countryside? I want you to check out Clyde's house. This is a 2,300 square foot mid-colonial home, detached garage, now listing for just $3.5 million. Let's check it out. This house is so spacious. I think my cameraman Butters can attest to this. Isn't this nice, Butters? Yeah, it's real roomy. This is just one of the amazing properties we have at South Park Realty Group. We've got other great listings like Craig's house, Wendy's house, and my personal favorite, Clyde's house.
Okay, so before we go show the next clip here, because this is exactly what you were talking about earlier. South Park Realty Group, Joe. South Park Realty Group. What an amazing ad that was, yeah?
It was so well done.
So well done.
The music and it was obvious drone footage with a lot of the high shots and everything. No way it was a jib camera.
No way that was a jib. All right, so here's the next point, the part of the episode you referenced, because after Cartman shoots that, we get a fantastic montage here of all the city people coming and all the realtors now with their brand new pictures. So you can take a look at what we were referencing that in the first part of this episode.
Leanne, you got a call, line 2. Sounds like a broker interested in 4600 Highgate.
Oh, okay.
That was not a broker, ladies and gentlemen. That was Cartman.
Well, I mean, technically, it could have been a broker.
You're right. You're right. That is interesting that it was Cartman. Now, I'm surprised that she didn't take that deal.
Yeah, so am I. I'm really surprised she didn't take the deal. I mean, she had a sale right there. I was waiting for her to yell at Cartman, which she did. But then, by the way, it's going to be this much.
Yeah, I think but Leanne is going to make, as we're sitting here and concluding, but Leanne is going to make a pretty valid point later on here, and that is that these homes will never make it through escrow. They'll never make it through sale because the sales are way too high, which is going to disturb the market itself in South Park.
Well, we'll just see in 30 days, won't we?
We'll just see in 30 days, won't we?
Except for some which have a 45-day contingency. It was really funny, how much of the industry they were able to.
He's like, I'm going to be the richest kid in the South Park, Mom. And she's like, no, you're an idiot. It's never going to make it through escrow, right? And all that. It's a good point here. Well, I think we've got that clip here. So let's go ahead and pull that up, what we're talking about.
Eric, you need to stop this right now!
When I close this deal, Mom, I'm gonna be the richest kid in town.
It doesn't work that way, Eric. You aren't going to make any money. You're just driving up the market, and none of your deals will make it through escrow.
Yep.
Well, we'll just see in 30 days, won't we? Except for some of my deals, which have a 45-day contingency period.
As you saw there, and we mentioned, Cartman, he's not going to make a lot of money on these escrow sales. So what's the option for his mom but to give up? Now, I will say it's unfortunate that Leanne was able to give up so easily.
Fine, Eric. Will you stop all this if I quit my job?
And you won't get any other job?
No!
I feel like as the mother, it's her responsibility to make sure she takes care of her son. Now, I'm not saying she's not going to do that here. However, there also needs to be some guidelines in place so that way she can set her son up to be successful. And by setting this relationship up here, or this arrangement up here, and where she is going to be essentially his sole provider and doesn't push Cartman out of the nest to go out and be free more as far as taking care of himself, which we've seen him basically been doing over the last 25 seasons. So he's just manipulating his mom in the situation as well, but she's allowing herself to be manipulated. She should know better by now is what I'm saying.
Yeah. But this is something they've been doing with Leanne Cartman for about half the series now. She'll begin to show a backbone. Cartman will react to it, and at the end of the day, Cartman always finds some way to manipulate Leanne into getting what he wants.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate though, because we have seen in the dog whisperer episode that Cartman can be disciplined with enough force, if you will, and by the end of the episode, you're right, Leanne then reverted him back to his original form of being Cartman, right? Whether that was manipulative or not on Cartman's end, but we don't know. We didn't get to see that play out further. We just saw her basically take the chains right back off. So we then get to the end of the episode now. So Cartman, and this is, as we mentioned, kind of a sad part of the episode. They're now going to be living inside of a hot dog. It's kind of funny, but it's also kind of sad. So let's go to that clip here. There's Eric and all their stuff. Leanne's obviously pissed.
I think it's cool we live in a hot dog. We have everything we need here. We've got running water, a couch to sleep on, and most important, we have each other. Weak. I live in a hot dog.
So sad there, Joe. Weak. He lives in a hot dog.
Yeah.
I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying Cartman doesn't deserve it for all the bullshit he's pulled. But I'm also of the opinion that Leanne's at fault here as well. And I don't feel like they should be in that situation.
She's definitely at fault here. She's an enabler, but at the same time, that kind of gives Cartman a pass. He made this bad. Did Leanne let it happen? Undoubtedly, but this is Cartman's doing.
That's a good point. All right, let's get into our final thoughts and trivia here. All right, Joe, why don't you read us some trivia?
So the various items that the city people mention are cortados, LaCroix sparkling water, Pilates, acai juice, oat milk, edamame, MacBooks, Teslas, metal water bottle, and Wi-Fi. Harriet Biggle reveals that she owns a bakery, which can be proven with her making cookies for Henrietta. Stan, Kyle, and Kenny, as we mentioned earlier, do not
Biggle.
appear.
I forgot that's what Barry Crunch's name is. Sorry, go ahead.
You're good. Stan, Kyle, and Kenny do not appear in the episode. However, Kyle's house is mentioned and is shown.
My personal favorite.
The Testaburger house is shown in a darker, richer shade of green than it had previously been, which means they could have been more than ones trying to sell you. Give the house a new coat of paint, makes it look a little poppier. And this is the debut of Grandma Tweak in the series.
That's right. When Cartman shows his first house, as we mentioned at the top of the show in the recap, they have Tweak's family in there, and he rolls throughout the whole house while they're sitting there eating dinner. There was some speculation online. People thought that this was the way for South Park to start writing off Tweak, like they were going to sell the house and Tweak was going to leave, and that seemed to upset some of the fandom people.
I think they may be looking a little too deeply into it.
I think a lot of South Park fans at times look a little deeply into things, or look at things a little too illogically, more from a fantasy standpoint, maybe than from a storyline standpoint.
Yeah, and I think Matt and Trey get off on it.
That's a good point. That's a great point. How about some of the references to pop culture? What did we get there?
The influx of city people moving to South Park and the realtors noting the rising costs may be a reference to the increasing number of people moving out of states like California, New York, Texas, and others due to rising costs and crime. This eventually leads to higher real estate costs in their new states as demand increases, as well as resentment from residents who do not want the newcomers to increase the cost of living and basically change the way of life is in that state because the new people are bringing in their old way of life. This is something that we definitely hear a lot. I hear "Don't California my Colorado" all the time. It's happening in a lot of places.
Hey, happens in Arizona. Don't come up here and mess what you already messed up, is what I hear a lot here too.
Yeah, exactly. The Coney Island hot dog stand is actually a real place. It is located in Bailey, Colorado, and it was used in the introduction of the unaired pilot. If you ever get a chance to watch it, it's one of the establishing shots. As we alluded to earlier, Cartman can be seen eating hazelnut cocoa spread, aka Nutella, and several vehicles in the episode have the Empire State Gold variation of New York's license plates. And they did a really good job of mimicking those plates too. I don't know how often you get to see them, but that they were pretty spot on, except for the color of the blue.
No, that's a good point. And then just to wrap this up here, a couple continuity references that we saw was Frank, the head of the South Park Realtors, who first appeared in Pajama Day, had his name changed already to John Aspinall. And then Butters is also seen watching a clip of Terrence and Philip in Not Without My Anus on his television, where Terrence farts in the Canadian courthouse during his murder trial. Another reference to the truckers battle going right now on the border. So that's some of your trivia, your pop culture. And, some references to continuity there. Our final thoughts. Let's go into them, Joe.
It definitely alludes to what we were talking about with the end of the COVID episode. This may lead towards the homelessness of the Cartman family, especially since, as we've been seeing over the years, things don't just reset themselves after a week or something like that. So
oh no, why'd you say that? That's a dagger.
So
I'm still holding on that the adults are in some sort of alternate South Park universe, and we're getting the Avengers or something of South Park. I don't know. You know what I mean?
And it really could. This could be post. This could be post blip.
Right.
This could be Far From Home or No Way Home. So but
Park into the multiverse of madness.
It's just Cartman could very easily be in a hot dog for at least the season, if not the next couple seasons, because as I was saying, we've seen things carry on from year to year. Like, how long have they been at Tegrity?
No, I'm not disagreeing with that notion. I guess it's the dagger of the end, right? Because we know if this is his beginning arc of how post-COVID part 2 ends, and that is he ends up homeless on the side of the road, then this may be the catalyst, or not. There's a bunch of things that are catalysts in Cartman's life, but this may be the one that lit the fuse itself to send him down that path, right? As you get to, the old saying, you come to a point in your life where you're at that fork in the road where what you do leads you down different paths. And at this particular point, based on the show, 25 seasons in, if you will, Cartman has made the decision that he wants his mom around so much that was willing to sacrifice or not see the full picture, that by not letting his mom go out and work a little bit, that unfortunately now they're going to be living in a hot dog, which, as I mentioned, there is going to ultimately lead to him being a leech off of his mom for his whole life. And then when his mother passes away and the rent can't be paid on the hot dog home anymore, or whatever it is, even if they own it or not, gets possessed, he sells it, I don't know. You're in a situation where Cartman ends up homeless. That's sad.
It is. It just
because he should have been this rabbi. This is Cartman. This is the adult version of Cartman that we want to see right there.
Fuck you, Uncle Cal. Yeah, I'm a Rabbi Cartman guy.
Rabbi Cartman guy for life, dog. So, it's just sad. And here's some other things that I thought were interesting in this episode. Leanne, she went out and she got a good job. Why didn't she take the initiative at that point then to maybe speak with some of the other parents that can help her? Hey, do you mind if Cartman came over for a couple hours after school?
I don't know. And we were talking about this the other day. And at the time when we were talking about it, I thought you had made a pretty good point. But after watching the episode again and thinking about it a bit more, I don't feel that remedies the situation, because Leanne still has a job that isn't Cartman. Cartman still doesn't get to go home after school. Cartman doesn't have his mid-afternoon meal waiting for him, but it's all of those things.
That's not to say those arrangements can't be made. Right. I mean, she couldn't, she could have somebody there after school. Not a nanny, just she could have somebody there after school. Maybe a hot chick that Cartman liked. Oh, God, she had,
And maybe, but at the end of the day, it has to be what Cartman wants. Otherwise, Cartman is going to do everything he has to possibly do in order to get his way.
That's a good point. Well, I mean, I would also say, I guess in this regard, then Leanne needs to learn. Obviously it's not going to happen, but she would need to learn how to counteract that manipulation, right?
Yeah, she needs to get a backbone.
Well, not just the backbone. What you do is you just present it, right? So then he makes the decision. Hey, okay, so we can either do option A or option B. Here's what option A leads to. Here's what option B may lead to. Do you want to do this or this? Rather than saying, I'm going to do this. So I think maybe Cartman, because he's such a spoiled kid, wanted to be taken into consideration because my mom didn't talk to me about this. So maybe if she had just been honest up front from the beginning, but I get, she feels like I don't need to tell my 8-year-old son about my financial woes.
Right.
So I totally understand. Final thoughts here, anything else? I mean, as far as from the first 3 seasons, do you feel like this is a strong episode, weak episode, kind of middle of the road?
It's kind of a middle of the road episode, but that's for right now. It could wind up leading to something down the road. There wasn't anything that was like rip roaring, oh my God, this was some of the funniest shit I've ever seen. This was a solid single. It wasn't like a double or a homer or anything like that, but this was a solid effort.
I agree.
Yeah.
I think that maybe in the long run, we'll look back. It could be considered an important episode, right? As we alluded to there, if the canonical references at the conclusion of part 2 of COVID Returns are accurate or not altered long term, it could be a sign of what things are to come for Eric T. Cartman. So in that regard, it could be important. But as of right now, in comparison to Pajama Day and in comparison to Big Fix, I do not feel it is the strongest of the season. Not a bad episode, but I guess maybe we wanted a little bit more. We want to understand Kyle Kenny too. I want some fixture. But here's one more thing before we go. I'd like to see the dynamic going forward of Kenny and Cartman, right? Because technically, Kenny's got a better house now than Cartman. So who's the poor kid now?
He's not the poor kid. Well, and like he was always the second poorest kid in the school. It was just he operated with the delusion that he wasn't.
Because he's got the house.
Yeah.
House, and his mom spoils him and all that crap.
And that's true. And I
it's also, admittedly, it's easier to take care of one child than versus 2 or 3 kids that McCormick have and all the times Kenny dies. So 50 plus times.
And funeral costs get expensive too. And I think Kenny will try to console Cartman or something like that, just for Cartman to lash back out at him.
Probably. All right, well, guys, that's going to do it for your wrap up here of season 25, episode 3, on another edition of
Suck my balls. Suck my balls.
Suck My Balls South Park Reviews. Each and every week, myself, Joe Vernola, Ian Colano, aka Scoop, review South Park episodes for your pleasure and your amusement. You can download these podcasts each and every Wednesday. There, we put out over 113 episodes up there. We're coming up next week to the season finale of season 7, which is Christmas in Canada, Joe. So, I mean, it's kind of relevant, Canada, right? Anyway,
It is.
ladies and gentlemen, I'm your host in the heat and I can't be beat. I'm your guy who's high where the air is dry, your boy, MSG. You can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Matthew_Schaffer. Each and every week, as I mentioned, my boy, Jackson, and of course, my co-host here, Dirty Joe Vernola, break down South Park reviews for you. Joe, any final words?
Be good to yourself
Be good
and
to yourself
each other.
and be good to because in the end, all we have is each other. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for stopping by for another edition of Suck My Balls.
Such relaxing music.
Suck my balls. 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 Suck my balls.